Hi everyone, we are 2.5 minutes away from State of the Game at 169 on what is the, wow, 2nd of September. What is happening to this year? It's going to be probably a bit of a longer stream tonight, to be honest, which makes me very happy. I am looking through all the stuff we have to go through, which is great. I am pretty excited for this one. So we will see you in a couple of minutes. All right.
Что, господа, всем привет. Давненько не было новостей по Division. Сегодня настал тот день, когда наконец-то мы что-то узнаем. Сегодня у нас будет новый PvE режим небоскреб. Полностью его должны заанонсировать, показать, что к чему и почему. Ну и также объявить дату начала ПТС, на котором, собственно, и можно будет опробовать этот режим. Что, надеюсь, не разочарует. А, да, надо немножко громкость убавить. Давненько тебя не было слышно. Да, было дело. Ну, понеслась моча по трубу.
Greetings everyone and welcome to State of the Game number 169 today on the 2nd of September 2020. I hope everyone's keeping well and safe.
Да, согласен, я тоже в нее давно не играю, поэтому и слышно меня не было, собственно говоря.
Stream intro that this one's probably going to be a little bit longer. We've been talking about for weeks that we'll be talking about the new PvE game mode, a bunch of the other stuff, and I want to get stuck right in. So I'm going to cut over to my buddies Bruce and Mackenzie. Come in. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey.
How you guys doing? Bruce, it looks like you're in the office and Mackenzie, you're at home.
Correct, yes. And we're excited to be here and talk about Skyscraper and the new gear that's coming.
Nice.
Еще и новая экипировка какая-то прибудет.
An internal name, Skyscraper. And
yes, the summits.
We'll get to that whole thing real soon. Anyway, before we get stuck right in, I want to go over the...
Еще и походу небоскреб это неофициальное название. И в игре, возможно, будет по-другому называться.
Fixed an issue that caused the checkpoint before the final boss to not work when playing title based on heroic. And also enabling the Season 2 level skips to purchase in the in-game store like we did with Season 1. You can now do that if you didn't get the levels that you wanted to. I do want to now move over to just giving a quick recap of what we've said for TU11, which we have coming up very soon. So we've talked about it before, the new game mode, and Mackenzie has told us it is called the Summit. Season 3 is on the way with TU11 new gear, and again, we are aware that that image is an image of the Regulus. We're going to go over some of that new gear today. Appearance mods we talked about last week. Rainbow loot improvements we talked about last week.
Да, кто не в курсе, со следующим патчем Division появится трансмогрификация, то бишь вы можете изменять внешний вид экипировки.
Okay. Now, let's jump straight into the big heavy hitter, and the reason why a lot of people are here today, and that is the new PvE game mode with the Summit. I love having pretty art.
Ага, действительно он называется по-другому, он называется Summit, а не небоскреб.
Yes, of course. Yeah, so with the Summit, we wanted to build a new game mode for the division that's really focused on PvE replayability. And so our goal was to create something that's easy to jump in, it's action-packed, and it's gonna feel like a fresh experience each time you hop in. And to really do that, we've thought of it kind of as the greatest hits of the PvE experiences that you've already had in the division. And so it's like, you know, you have all the factions in it, you have these environments that can change floor to floor.
Ну, то бишь, да, будем путешествовать по этажам, там рандомные фракции будут на каждом этаже, рандомно генерируемые, получается, уровни. В общем, что-то будет микс между подземкой и, как его, противостоянием из первой части.
And so it's always going to be something fresh and new and hopefully exciting on that floor. And so, you know, it's something that when you want to hop on the division and play with your friends at night, it's just super easy to hop in the skyscraper and know that you're going to get.
Если я правильно понял, всего 50 этажей будет.
New experience each time.
Cool. Can we just clarify a little bit, because I know we had this similar discussion when we launched with Underground back in Division 1, and there was a little bit of confusion around randomized and procedural and that sort of thing. So there are floors that are preset geometrically with random spawns on them, and then you'll get a different...
So there are like dozens of floor sections with like a predefined look and layout. And then when we go to this certain floor, we choose one of those. Okay. And we also choose one of a random set of factions for that floor. And if it's got directives on it, we choose a set of random directives for that as well. And so it's all predefined, but the way that you'll get it is random. And so...
То бишь у них продизайнено несколько уровней, и они будут рандомно выбираться. Также будет рандомно выбираться фракция. И если у вас активны директивы, также будут рандомно выбираться директивы.
Yeah, so the first time that you come in, you'll see this menu, and you'll only be able to...
Значит, про 50 я неправильно понял.
And so the first time that you summit, you need to move your way up.
Они сделали чекпоинты. Это то, чего не хватало в противостоянии в первой части. Потому что первые там 20-30 минут, а то и час, ты просто сражаешься с мобами, которые ваншотаются. Учиться на ошибках, это хорошо.
For the floor after that. So you can see on this, which is Pawslet, that there's floor 11, 21, 31, etc. So you've beaten the 10th floor boss, you will be able to, on any time you replay the skyscraper, just immediately go to floor 11. And so I know people who want, you know, challenging content, that they'll be oftentimes just fast traveling to 21 or 31. For those who want heroic, they'll be going to maybe 61 all the time. And if you're a legendary fan, you'll be going to 81.
Nice. And so a lot of legendary content. That's really cool.
Yes. and it's dynamic. So it shall be interesting because the strongholds, we predefined the spawns for those, whereas this is going to be a fresh experience each time for legendary players. So yeah, it's going to be pretty challenging. We've actually reduced the number of directives for the top 2 floor segments there to 3, based off feedback we got from the ETF this past weekend, actually. So it should hopefully not as grueling.
Cool. I'll just let this run. I've got like 8 minutes of footage. Just for clarity, you'll see some fades and edits in here because I wanted to show people the first. I think we get through 11 or 12 floors.
Значки какие-то дебафов новые, видимо, новые какие-то гирсеты.
Obviously, it gets a lot harder than this, but I wanted people to see.
Новый баф какой-то, значок паук.
Between my view and Ella's view as well. There's also, and people have already peeped a new weapon, they're looking at new gear sets, they're looking at a bunch of new stuff. So we're gonna later in the stream go over what those are.
О новой экипировке нам расскажут после того, как закончится режим в конце стрима.
I did see a question before, Mackenzie, that I want to throw at you. Is there matchmaking for this?
Yes. So you can matchmake.
Также будет доступен матчмейкинг для этого режима, но это и так понятно.
The 30 floors of challenging, you'll say challenging is what you want to matchmake for, just like a mission, like a normal main mission, and you'll get placed with a group on the section.
Awesome. And as before, all of the Division 2 factions are present in the summit. The other thing I do want to clarify is that this will be free for all players who own the Warlords of New York expansion. So with TU11, you will have access to this.
Значит, доступ к этому режиму получают только те, кто купил дополнение.
It is called... Wait, Bruce, what is it called again?
It's called the Backfire.
В принципе, понятно, это часть контента 3-го сезона.
Yes, this is free for people who own Warlords of New York. You do not need to purchase it if you own Warlords already. Can you talk a little bit how targeted loot works?
Ну что, выглядит вроде бы нормально. Вопрос только сколько тут... какая будет вариативность.
Regardless of like what floors you're playing. Okay. And so we're really open to feedback on this. We went back and forth internally about what's the best option for this. So we're gonna test it out in the PTS as having a single targeted loot for the whole building, and we'll kind of go from there to based off feedback.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about the scalability for a bit. I've seen some questions in chat about.
Еще какие-то эти будут.
Блин,
слова забываю. Задания, которые тоже рандомно будут генерироваться. Но это прикольно, чё. Не просто зачистка мобов. То бишь, сложно скалироваться под количество игроков. То бишь, вполне можно играть соло.
Game to do that solo, even the strongholds currently, and I think it's going to be very much still true here.
Уничтожение серверов. Как терминала, еще что есть.
Jay Real were asking in chat about rogues and hunters and those kind of random spawns. Is that something that's in there right now, or maybe in the future?
So I will say that rogue agent encounters can occur throughout the
Роги также могут появляться, как и в других как и в другом контенте. Хантеры нет. То бишь, в первой части в метро у нас ханты были. Тут роги.
We're about halfway through it, and I wanted to make sure that people get to see as much of this as possible.
Новая ППшка засветилась. Да, менял оружие. Да ладно, серьезно? Ага. Все-таки нам расскажут, когда начнется ПТС. Окей.
I could tell you now, but I'm not going to because we're talking about the summit. Bruce, did you have a chance to play on the test server?
I did, yeah.
What's your take?
It's pretty neat. We played for a couple hours on Friday and did the first 30 floors, and it was fun. It was especially fun for me as a way to just sort of it kind of I mean, we'll talk about it in a bit, but I tried to combine as much of the new gear as possible. And I mean, I would, of course we design these things not within a vacuum, but with considering this SMG, this exotic SMG does this, and then the new gear set does that, and the new brand is also going to be, there's synergy. We always try to like make these things as a sort of package, right? But it was really validating to throw a build together that used the new gear set, a piece of the new brand set, the Backfire SMG, and one of the other exotics, and just have it be monstrously powerful. But that being said, we weren't doing the hardest floors. So.
Причем СМГшка, которая у него в руках, судя по всему, экзотическая, потому что она на картинке сразу с модами.
But this SMG has a very unique mechanic where you'll see it. It applies a bleed.
Они нам ее покажут.
Which is maybe a little strange to deal with, but I'll have Bruce explain it once we get to the new gear and weapons part of the stream, because we have a lot to go through. I've got a couple of minutes left on this footage, and I do want to kind of just keep going through it. Bruce, did you find that the way that you played was different from how you'd played previous gear sets and weapons before? Is it mechanically
with this
quite
gear
different?
In particular?
Yeah, with some of the stuff that people can expect in TU11 and Season 3.
Yeah, I don't normally play a hyper-aggressive up-close and personal build. I sort of tend towards the mid-range assault rifle build. But I also I almost always use some sort of a hybrid build with, where I can rely on myself for some element of self-sustain and or crowd control to give myself a little bit of breathing room and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it was satisfying to play with a gear set and exotics that just kind of do all of that in a way, but you have to play full throttle, all gas, no brakes, because the minute where I would get into a situation where I had overextended myself and didn't have an opportunity to either clinch a kill or confirm a kill, which is one of the exotic effects for the new backpack, and then therefore be able to go pick up that thing that drops from it.
Какой-то экзотический рюкзак будет, который на эффект основанный на убийствах.
Get yourself plastered. But yeah, it was really fun. I actually really enjoyed playing with it was myself and Adrian and Nikki. Nikki was my pocket healer for most of the run, so having a fixer drone following me constantly, certainly helped.
Nice. Okay, that's all the footage that
Я надеюсь, это все покажут подробнее.
But this is going to be on the PTS very soon. What were you saying? Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, there were some questions in the chat that I wanted to respond to.
Please.
Yeah, so there was a question about the factions. So all the Washington, D.C. factions can also appear in Skyscraper. So you'll see the Hyenas, the Shrew Suns, the Black Tusk, and the Outcasts in here. You can also occasionally be ambushed by the Underground, which is pretty terrifying, and it's pretty cool. As far as floors, I saw a question about how big those are. It's between 1 to 3 big encounters per floor. And so the thought process is that a set of 10 floors is close to a stronghold in difficulty. And so
каждый этаж будет состоять из 2-3 активностей. 10 этажей будут эквивалентны примерно одному Стронгхолду. По времени прохождения.
On the playtest we had last Friday, so one of our tech LDs was fixing that and because this is an earlier build that you're seeing the footage of, and so he was laying out these streets to get the correct marking for where to go, because that's how we do it inside the building. Is it's still a street, which is just a little fun dev insider tip. I don't know if you saw any other questions.
I do want to go back to a point you said before, that there is a bunch of what people are seeing now is from different branches of different builds. So this is from our test server that we had. So the things that people are seeing now is going to be different from the PTS build, and the PTS build will be different from the release build. So please keep that in mind when you see and experience things, because there will be some changes.
Yes, yeah, like the team has been really pushing on this, and we're continuing to make updates. Like lots of improvements were coming in just today. Yannick pulled me away just from working on things, fixes for the upcoming things as well. Not blaming him for anything. So like yeah, it's really we're working hard on this.
Speaking of, why did all characters have to auto be generated to look like Yannick on the test server? Did he make that? Did he say?
I don't know, man.
You better make it look like me.
Weird conspiracy.
Yes. L Strife's asking, Hamish, don't let them ignore the PvP questions. People want some new PvP modes. We will talk about some PvP changes. There's no PvP mode that we'll be talking about, but Bruce does, I hope, have some...
Какие-то изменения в PvP тоже заанонсят. Режима нового не предвещается.
Right now that for the sake of PTS Phase 1, we really want the focus to be on the new gear and how they behave and work in PvP and PvE, of course. But we can talk briefly. I can kind of hint at some of the stuff that's going to be coming in PTS Phase 2 that's related specifically to PvP battles.
Okay. On that note, let's go through the new gear first, and then we'll talk about some.
Да, давай, новая экипировка, поехали.
Mackenzie, if there are any things that pop up that you do want to talk about as it pertains to the summit, do let us know. If you stick around with us and see stuff in chat, we'll talk more about that at the end. But new gear and weapons, there's a lot to talk about. I have, we'll go over the Season 3 stuff first before we get to the summit. So we'll head back over there. If you don't mind, Bruce, is that okay? Or do you want to do the other stuff?
Sorry, I'm looking at Ella chat over in Teams. Did we answer? Sorry, did we address the purple loot that was popping up on screen?
No, that's in the lowest difficulty, though, right?
Yeah. So the footage that you saw was Hamish playing through the first 10 floors, which is normal difficulty. So of course you're going to see purple loot there.
Some might have dropped on floor 11. I don't know if people saw or are saying.
Собственно, озвучили то, что экипировка будет падать согласно сложности. Но это и так понятно, я не знаю, откуда такие вопросы, конечно.
But yes, if that is something that you experience on the PTS and is unintended, we will address. Okay, Bruce, I'll let you have dealer's choice. Do you want to go through the Season 3 gear first or the Summit exotics and stuff?
За этим режимом еще какой-то эксклюзивный экзот будет.
Okay, I'm going to go with it. All right. Let's do it live. I'll do it how I have it laid out. So, a new trap skill variant. Bruce, you know about this one?
Ловушка, новая вариация ловушки, ну это взрывная должна быть, шрапнель, да. Ибо модули на нее уже давно падают.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty exciting skill, because this one I worked pretty closely on, so it's kind of like my new baby. It does a lot of things and borrows from a lot of different skills, which might sound odd, but what we wanted to do with the shrapnel trap was not make something so, obviously defensive in nature.
Пойти открыть коллекцию, ну не знаю, посмотрим. Если озвучат, как это будет получаться, то ок. Нет, то уже узнаем сами.
And when it deploys, it creates a minefield of smaller shrapnel mines, basically. So it's an area denial tool. But if you quick deploy it,
Я сомневаюсь, что за закрытие 100 этажей чересчур жестко, ибо 80 плюс это легендарная сложность.
Because anything that's within the area of the trap's deployment field gets right. Mind when you throw the shrapnel trap, you're lobbing the big ball, and then the ball lands, and then it pops up into the air like a bouncing Betty mine, and then it explodes and spreads a bunch of smaller mines in the area. But they have sticky bomb behavior, so anything that's within that area of effect will get stuck by the mine. So it's not just you have to step on a mine, or NPCs can only be damaged if they enter the minefield. They can also be damaged if they're within the initial deployment area, and that's obviously the case if you quick deploy it, right? So I don't know if you have any gameplay footage of it in action.
В общем, ловушка будет работать так, как ловушка работает. Получается, кидаешь, она взрывается, раскидывает маленькие ловушки. И эти ловушки будут как мини-стики-бомбы работать. То есть прилипать к врагам там и все такое прочее.
So I think it's pretty exciting because, like I said, it has a bit of a dual nature where you can use it for area denial, or you can use it as a quick response where, let's say, you're behind some cover and you're engaging some enemies, directly in front of you, and then a rusher comes and surprises you on the flank. You can quick deploy this, and it will basically act like, I'm trying to think of like an.
Не знаю, как на меня тут дамага, она все равно наносить толком не будет. Поэтому шоковая будет гораздо лучше для контроля. Посмотрим.
Cone of cold. Yeah. Well,
that's what I'm looking for. So it's like a quick deploy, rapid, offensive skill as well.
Okay. We used to have that with the mobile. The mobile cover in Division 1 used to have the.
Yeah, that's right.
One of the variants.
Yeah, where it would explode, or you could detonate it, and then it would create like a claymore effect.
Быстрое использование ловушки сравнили с использованием передвижного укрытия из первой части, когда ты тоже зажимаешь, оно в конусе от вот этого прикрытия взрыв делает. Вот. Что-то похожее.
Okay, now let's talk about the Season 3 gear set. Okay.
Давай, комплектная экипировка третьего сезона. Hunter's Fury.
Bruce, what can you tell us from a game design perspective of why this is exciting?
This is a pretty exciting gear set because it's probably OP.
Shotgun damage, SMG damage, armor and kill, health and kill. Прикольно.
So I think people can see
враги в радиусе 15 метров получают дебаф, увеличивающий урон от оружия на 20%. После убийства врага с дебафом Чего? Враги в радиусе 5 метров получают дезориентацию и дальше увеличивают еще дополнительный урон на 5%. 10 секунд стакается 5 раз. Ничего так дико. На градаке увеличивает стаки. Длительность стаков с 10 секунд 30. И на рюкзаке, получается, увеличивает радиус с 5 метров до 10. Интересненько. Но опять же, это никак не будет играться на высокой сложности. Посмотрим.
When you're within 15 meters of the enemy, we apply a debuff to them. Essentially, think of it as you radiating an aura of menace that demoralizes the.
Кстати, в соло должен очень хорошо с этой играться.
Within your aura, then demoralize any of their friends with a disorient, confuse effect, which then ideally you use that opportunity to then kill the next, nearest victim, and so on, and become the apex predator that you are.
Just to clarify, I saw in the description that it says it will increase your damage. So if I'm applying that, I think it was 15 meters, or that debuff to the enemies, they only take the damage, extra damage from me, correct?
It only applies to you. Yeah.
Right.
You are the hunter or huntress, so only you gain that benefit.
Cool.
Урон от дебафа, увеличение урона от дебафа распространяется только на владельца сета. Грустненько, грустненько. Следующий герс... А, нет, это не герсет, это пушка. Карт 45.
So the named variant of the card 45 is called the TDI card custom.
Выглядит сет охуенно. Ну, как бы да. Звучит неплохо, но... Дебаф бы распространялся еще не только на тебя, а на всех участников группы. Вот это было бы вообще классно. А так... Но под соло звучит неплохо.
Exact pistol, and because this is a sort of prototype technology, we decided to play with that, and so the named version of this gun, it doesn't have a unique talent, or a perfect talent rather, but when using the pistol, as in when you are holding it in your hands, you get +1 skill tier.
Just to clarify, this is not...
Нифига себе.
This is the generic...
Пистолет имеет уникальное свойство, скажем так. Когда ты его держишь в руках, он будет давать +1 на уровень навыка. Нифига себе.
And then there's also the other new weapon that's coming with TU-11.
Учитывая все баги, я думаю, это опять будет криво работать нельзя. Ну блин. Конечно, будет криво работать. Кто бы сомневался. Это новый дробовик. X12.
This shotgun gives you some armor on kills, which is not normally something that's accessible as
Шотган, господи. Дробовик это дает броню за убийство. Тоже его уникальное свойство.
We're encouraging you to get up close and personal, have some self-sustain in your build in the form of armor on kill and regen and all that stuff to dominate the battlefield.
Nice. Okay. We've got like more to go. I'm loving doing this stream. I have like this whole thing laid out in front of me with all the things I'm yet to show. And we're just getting to the
X13 подошло больше.
We work on this for months and then we finally get to, show it off. So
yeah. All right. I want to get into some of the exotics that people...
собственно, вот и новости подъехали. Тест начинается 4 сентября.
About the backfire.
So the backfire is pretty unique.
А вот, собственно, и новый экзотический СМГ Backfire.
Spiky, violent looking thing. And we decided to really lean into that. So what it does is as you shoot...
Фига себе. Нанесение урона стакает крит урон 1% за стак. Стаки висят 10 секунд. И стак кап 200 стаков. Я не успел дочитать.
However, when you reload and you grab that magazine wreathed in barbed wire, you apply a bleed to yourself. And that
при перезарядке накладываешь на себя кровотечение.
Critical damage that you have. And I believe it's 0.5% of your total armor per tick of the bleed dot. So with 100 stacks, you're going to lose all of your armor.
Нифига себе.
Over the course of
урон, который кровотечением будешь сам себе наносить, зависит от количества стаков, и это количество урона, получается, будет 0,5% за стак. То бишь при полных 200 стаках это будет минус вся броня.
your gear to either mitigate it so it's not as much of a threat, or to just eliminate the bleed entirely through hazard protection and bleed resistance.
Interesting.
And there's various ways of achieving that.
Yeah, I've just rewound the video so people can take another peep at that. On reload, apply a 10-second bleed to yourself, which deals 0.5% armor damage per stack.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
При перезарядке себе играю так, как убить экзот одним предложением. Ну как тебе сказать? За 10 секунд.
Thanks, math.
Это не так уж и быстро, скажем так. Плюс этот урон будет митигироваться факторами риска. То есть, если насобирать достаточное количество, ты этого урона даже не заметишь. Надо тестить. А теперь не только от орла можно сдохнуть. Да, это точно.
I'm being roasted for my math. It's late, okay? It's been a long day.
Да не, на самом деле за 10 секунд это не так страшно, учитывая то, что ты за убийство получаешь кучу брони. Просто на легендарке, да, ты не побегаешь. Но это и понятно, там на легендарке с ППшками в принципе не побегаешь. На героике фиг знает. Надо подумать, какой билд под это все сделать. Со щитом разве что, если. Это экзотический бэкпак. Почему-то выглядит как грудак. Ну да, собственно, это рюкзак. Так, враги, убитые, какой-то трофей после смерти оставляет, поднимает этот трофей. Вы получаете, как это сказать, короче, бафы. И каждый баф скалируется с количеством атрибутов от на вашей экипировке на 10 секунд. Первый баф будет увеличить, получается, то бишь увеличивать либо урон, либо броню, либо эффективность навыков. Второй баф будет накладываться на 300 секунд, который будет увеличивать что там, урон, эффективность навыков и регенерацию брони. Максимум 30 стаков. Ну слушай, в комбинации с ОПХой это жесткая тема.
Skill efficiency. 1% skill efficiency is 1% skill damage, skill haste, skill repair, status effects, skill health, and I might be forgetting one.
Оружие камикадзе, зачем врагу убивать тебя, если ты можешь сделать это сам? Если ты еще и со стеклом. Кстати, да, со стеклом это будет крайне больно. Что за Flappy Bird? Ждешь, пока тебя самого не накрыло, и думаешь, как будет убить. Ну все, вот и связка, новый экзот и оружие рюкзак. Ну да, похоже на то. Вон большому члену подобрали большую банку усилий.
Secondly, for every trophy that you pick up, you get a long-term buff effect that lasts 300 seconds or 5 minutes. I think my math is right there.
It is, you're good.
Yeah. That lasts 300 seconds and gives you 1% weapon damage, 1% skill efficiency, and 0.1% armor regen per stack, stacking up to 30 times. The goal or the intention here is that if you're fighting a boss, for example, and you've killed all of the minions and there's no more trophies for you to pick up, ideally you've accrued a pretty significant buff, right? That essentially.
Но опять же, это все хорошо работает под соло.
persistently.
Так как тебе нужно конкретно именно
But they
убивать.
stack.
В группе
So
эта связка
what you can also
поработать
do is
будет
kill minions
плохо.
and make sure that you just pick up each individual
Либо в
trophy,
команду берешь
because
какого-нибудь
each trophy
танка
is to
хила,
maintain both effects.
который убивать
Meaning
не
you can have
будут.
60% weapon damage. Well, if you were 6 red, you'd have 60% weapon damage, 20% bonus armor, and 5% skill efficiency on that pickup. But if you were some sort of a hybrid or combination therein, you'd have, you know, those effects at their values.
Yeah. Cool.
So a bit of a mouthful, like maybe difficult to immediately wrap your head around. And we're still figuring out how exactly to work.
Думаю, оружие
that
сильно
whole
порежет и
talent
после
on the
месяца,
talent
а оружие
sensitive
превратится в
UI, 'cause
глупый
it's a bit of a
средняк по типу
sensitive
Леди
mouthful.
Смерть.
But yeah,
Как
we're
тебе
we're
сказать, Леди
excited
Смерть
for people
топовая
to
пушка
give
в
a spin
ПВП,
on the
как-никак.
PTS.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing a lot of things in chat. Solid G saying best in slot. This is so cool. Death 119. Taste that rainbow. Is this a little bit
Ну,
of a
пушку
dig?
может и порежет, согласен.
You having some,
Но
like,
опять же, это
internal
нужно
conflicts,
тестить.
like,
Так на
oh,
бумаге,
I'm
да,
gonna fix
смотрится
rainbow
круто.
loot and then just make this god rainbow loot.
Может,
Like,
у
I
нее
know-
базовый урон там вообще никакой,
I mean, I'm all
поэтому...
for it. That's cool. All right, cool.
Yeah, we don't listen to what people
No,
say.
I love it. Oh well, it's either way. I'm very excited for it. It's very cool. We have more. We have more. Let's keep going. So there are. Oh, let's do the chess piece next. Oh, Mackenzie wants to talk. I'm going to turn you on. Go for gold.
Wait.
Hi.
Oh, the chest piece, we're talking about the one that you unlock from completing the summit, right?
Ooh, yes. All right. Well, you should chime in on this because
Yes, I was trying to do a clever segue there.
Nice. What do we got here?
Угу. Экзотический грудак.
So I'm not going to talk about the gear piece itself, but I was just going to mention that the way to earn this is
Нанося урон
by getting
противникам в
to
радиусе
100
10
or
метров,
above the summit,
накладывает
and you
кровотечение.
unlock a quest.
Um,
Once you've completed that quest, you'll be able
Repair,
to
Armor
craft this, if I'm understanding it correctly from what
Ага, регенерирует броню
and what we've seen.
в зависимости от количества врагов в радиусе 10 метров с кровотечением. Один враг 1%, 2 4, 3 9, 4 16 и 5 25. Секунду. Вот, собственно, и дробовики потихонечку подъезжают в игру. А и, кстати, да, обратите внимание, мод серого цвета. Со следующим обновлением также все моды потеряют привязку к цвету. То бишь можно будет в любую шмотку ставить любой мод. Это так, кто не в курсе последних событий. Крестик подъехал, да, с первой части. Вард.
Fantasy. So, we thought we would, for players who want to.
Чтобы сказали, когда релиз обновы в конце сентября.
We created this exotic with the talent called Bleeding Edge, which applies a bleed to any enemy that you shoot with your weapon when they're within 10
Думали,
meters.
похоронили хват, а
So,
нет.
again, this
Ну, как сказать, хват мертв на самом-то деле.
This synergizes really well with adrenaline rush, right? So whenever if you're building a build that's going to operate within the 10 meters or less spectrum, like this is definitely something that you should consider using.
Дело в том, что как бы она имбово не смотрелась, количество урона, которое игроки получают, несоизмеримо с тем же этим, даже 25%. В секунду. На героике ты не добежишь просто в радиус 10 метров. Выходом 30-80. Все, Миша, покупай.
And they're all bleeding, you're going to regenerate 25% of your armor every second. But I mean, I challenge you to, if you can pull that off, great. You deserve to have that much self-sustain. But obviously, the AI isn't necessarily going to go easy on you. And if you're playing on the harder content, that's certainly a risky proposition. But I think there's definitely players out there who are going to be able to make use of this.
80 прямую кишку продать хочешь, слепить. Моя жопа уже разработана. Здорово.
That's, I mean, good luck, but I don't know. Maybe there's something there. We will see on the PTS. I would imagine there's
So I see a lot of people are like, you know, Monka S or not like this status effects PvP. Keep in mind that we are doubling the strength of resistance mods, defensive resistance mods in TU11. So if you
защитные
have
модули
a
получат
PvP
двойной
resistance
баф в
mod
следующем
currently on live, if you have it at 10%,
патче.
which is the live value, the maximum value on live, in TU11 it's going to be up to 20%. And you know, we recently buffed the booster hive to provide, you know, status effect resistance and cleanses. So I think, you know, there's tools in the player's toolbox that they can use to either capitalize on these effects or mitigate it as much as they can. So, you know, just a slight sort of acknowledgement of the PvP players and their concerns. We're aware, and this is an opportunity to test these weapons and exotics on the PTS. Give me your feedback. You know, my DMs are always open. Blow them
Are
up.
they?
Yes.
You have
On
your
Twitter.
DMs open?
My DMs are open. Yeah.
Oh, that's dangerous, man. You live on the edge.
I live on the bleeding edge. Me and Ridgeway.
All right. I just want to get to the new Bellstone Armory stuff real quick. What can you tell us about this
Новый
This is
бренд.
This is a new brand set that's coming with the 11 Season 3.
Армор реген
It's a
первым.
defensive brand set,
Прикольно.
no surprise.
10
And
армора
the
за убийство
bonuses,
и
one piece is 1% armor
20%.
regen, and then armor on kill, and incoming repairs.
Как оно по-русски-то?
So, again,
Полученное
this is
лечение.
designed for the more
Полученный
aggressive
ремонт.
personal player
Точно.
who's looking for, you know, survivability and
Такое.
self-sustain, and, you know, more independent, you know, less reliance on a healer or a dedicated healer or, you know, some sort of hybrid therein.
Cool. I see some people already being a little bit split on what this would mean. Someone says, Humane Bearman says useless gear set. Someone says, literally the person straight above them, it's just Hop, says, this is the brand set I've been waiting for. Yeah, you go. More options for whatever you like.
Yeah, and there's two, of course, there's two named gear pieces that will be coming with Season 3. I don't think we have images or slides for those, do we?
No.
Явно хотят сделать хват, но не понимают как.
Everyday carrier. So
Ну,
they'll
фиг его
come with
знает.
two new perfect talents. The chest piece has perfectly efficient. So that's the armor kit refund talent with 50% chance to not consume your armor kit on use.
На этой брендовой экипировке будет перфектный талант на рудаке, который на ремонтные киты. Не помню, как называется, эффективный или как-то так.
Cool.
And again, these are talents that work really well.
Ну, а второй я прослушал, пока говорил.
And Memento and Ridgeway's Pride, you know, they work great in conjunction with Backfire, which, as you guys know, has, you know, a pretty spicy
новый броник, новый бренд на отхил.
Kind of, you know, no pain, no
gain.
От
себя же очень
you're gonna want to build around that as much as possible.
Ну, фиг знает.
And I think we're, you know, hopefully giving some of those tools.
Nice. There is apparently an image for like a nice, pretty image.
Дело в том, что входящий ремонт не работает на таланты и оружие, на перки вообще, только на способности. Если они, так, конечно, опять в этом патче решили не вернуть.
Yeah, so PTS Phase 2 is going to have some balance adjustments. I've already mentioned this on Twitter, but for anyone who doesn't follow me on Twitter, at BruceWK. So Riot Foam base duration is going to go from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. The Firewall burn on armor break specialization talent for the Firewall. We're going to remove the burn effect in PvP. So if you break someone's armor, you won't be set on fire.
Мгм.
What else I got here?
В общем, сейчас нам перечисляют некоторые правки со второй фазы ПТС.
Changes to
И уберут
pistol, rifle, and
с
marksman
огнеметчика
damage
талант,
that was
который
done
поджигал
during
при
the
разломе брони в ПВП.
17.1 server
Он не будет в ПВП теперь
patch.
работать.
Going to be revisiting those numbers after deliberating on it and discussing it with the community and you know getting feedback.
Сколько лет они эту кашу месяц и никак не сварят. Да, согласен.
Removing the one shot to the toe builds or one shot crotch builds, it was a little bit too heavy-handed on lowering the overall damage of those weapon classes or types. So I'm going to be revisiting that. And yeah, so I don't want to get into too many specifics because again, it's still work in progress.
Ля, нахер тогда он нужен? Да, что-то непонятно. ПВЕ он нафиг не нужен, только мешает. Могли бы уже в принципе его убрать. Что убили классно. Одним предложением.
Professional game developer. I just want to see if there's anything else that I can risk dropping. No, I think we'll leave it there for now, and then we can we'll have more information coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Cool. We're like way over time, but I did say this one would go long. There is one thing I want to follow up on about the Rainbow Loot stuff that Nikki talked about in previous weeks. If you follow Nikki or Patterson,
от минут, о чем идет речь.
That he's made some adjustments to what will be on the PTS. So following
Боюсь, в двух предложениях не объяснить. Сейчас говорят про радужный лут. Они его пофиксят. Первый атрибут теперь всегда будет такого же цвета, как и основной атрибут. То бишь, если шмотка на броню, первый атрибут всегда будет синий. Второй будет ролиться рандомно, как это было раньше.
Speaking of, you will have seen down below that the PTS date has been put in there by Johan of September 4th, which is Friday. It is PC only, as we have said before. All the new TU11 content will be on there, including the summit, the new skill variant, the Shrapnel Trap, which will be in the live version, the reward from Season 3 Manhunt. The actual Manhunt
Только
won't be
для PvP, это PvP класс, у него способности яркие, заточены, они их выпиливают. Класса я огнеметчиком должен сжигать всех. Ну, согласен, но не знаю.
We have the Backfire Exotic, which we showed some gameplay of a little bit earlier.
Об этом они уже говорили. Да, это было на прошлом стриме.
The Memento Exotic Backpack, which you can experience on the PTS. I love that the Hunter mask is in there as well. It's very much that Hunter fantasy, which I'm super into. And then the Ridgeway's Pride Exotic chess piece, which looks super sick. So I imagine people are going to be getting their Hunter like in-game cosplays running, which I'm super into. So do share those with us. So yes, PTS is on Friday.
Так, ну я надеюсь, они уже заканчивают, это что-то долго.
The Season 2 is also continuing right now. So I want to just show this. The new league has started, so the Titan League is available.
Сегодня новая лига стартанула. Нет, вчера. Ну и черт с ними. Кстати, это первая, по-моему, уникальная лига. На этой... Нет, подожди, не лига. Лиги все были с уникальными наградами.
That's correct. Yeah.
Рюкзак классный, да, рюкзак мне тоже понравился. Пушка прикольная, но тестить надо, но рюкзак прям хорош.
So people can spam you. There you go. I put it in chat. His DMs are open. Look. Do not.
Don't make me regret it, chat.
Don't make Bruce regret it. This is I used to, and then I had to stop. So be nice to Bruce. please. Otherwise, he's going to he's going to delete his Twitter account and you'll never see him again. That's definitely what'll happen. Mackenzie, was there anything that you saw that you wanted to address and bring up?
Yes. Yep. So I have a few questions I saw in the chat. You
Вопросы
already
из
mentioned
зала.
that the summit will be in the PTS. It will be the entire summit, so you will be able to go all the way up to floor 100 and just see everything, give as much feedback as you can. We're really looking forward to it. Another thing that I saw some confusion about how the floors work. So once you go up to a certain floor, you can always select any floors, any rally point below that to start at again. So if you make it all the way up to floor 70, you can restart at 50 or 40 or 70 or whatever. Yeah.
Собственно, те, кто позже подключился, вот вам новый режим, который называется Summit. Тот, который небоскреб. Можно выбрать точку, откуда начинать. Естественно, для этого нужно ее как бы разблокировать. Это то, чего очень не хватало в первой части противостояния. Дойдя до определенной контрольной точки, можно даже спуститься вниз-обратно, если хотите фармить, мол, определенный промежуток только этажей.
As far as on the mega map, it shows in New York. And so you can teleport to it from there. And yeah, I think that's the main stuff. You can, like, we're working on the objectives, and there's a lot of stuff that we're looking at with the PTS to see what people think. And the way that we built the summit is really dynamic, and so we're really excited to be able to keep on improving it and adding new things where we can.
Cool. There's a couple of questions that I saw. Will people ever run across the white tusk in the upper legendary levels?
Yes. So the legendary that you see there are the white tusk.
На легендарной сложности будет только белые бивни, то бишь начиная с 81 этажа. Ну, Кай.
Yeah, I saw some comments asking about this video here. On the lower floors, just floor 1 to 10, currently it's just the rakers and cleaners. That's the normal floor set, and it's kind of more of you might notice that the lower floor, specifically these normal floors.
С 1 по 10 этаж будет только эти чистильщики и зэки.
So what you'll see is a bit limited, and so you'll see a bit more stuff as you go higher up in the floors, as far as like exotic elements of combat.
Well, I have a couple of other questions I want to get to. Lazarus Knight was asking, if my friends unlock a higher floor, can they join them, or does your personal progression
тоже интересно.
taken into account?
Подъехал. Выглядит режим вроде бы неплохо. Посмотрим, как это будет в пятницу, на самом деле. В пятницу я, правда, буду немножко занят, но постараюсь выкроить время постримить.
Correct, yes. And I guess I could talk a bit about checkpointing. When you die, there's a specific, you will respawn at the last elevator you took. And so you'll take elevators up every 3 floors. And so like if you were to die on floor 8, you'll respawn at floor 7. So there is, that's something to keep in mind. But that goes all the way up the entire building. Even in Legendary, you'll still have that be able to respawn every 3 floors.
Ага, чекпоинты каждые 3 этажа.
Yeah.
То бишь, если вы умрете на
again, you can experience this
пример
on
был на
PTS,
8
so
этаже,
every
вас
day,
откатит на 7-й.
and we definitely
На 9, соответственно, тоже на
should
7-й.
probably be on the forums, checking out
Все
everything.
это
So
распространяется
make sure you
до
give them good,
100
concise
этажа.
feedback, and we'll be watching streams and all that sort of stuff as well. Bruce and Mackenzie, if you can just keep an eye on chat and see if there's anything that you do.
ПТС в эту пятницу, да, ПТС 4 сентября в эту пятницу.
Throw over to some agent highlights because I have a couple of really cool ones this week. I am
Прямо на стриме
particularly
подлагивает.
impressed with
Ну, не
the
обязательно.
topical nature of our first agent highlight from over on Reddit with AXS56CVB with this little bean.
Так, короче,
Obviously,
тут все понятно, они с информацией, судя по всему, закончили.
You are missing out. I would love to see this. Someone send it to Oliver and make sure that we are eventually in that game because it has to happen.
Да, у меня ужин стынет как-никак.
Society falls, so does he.
Недели 2 будет вроде бы.
Very cool.
Как
That
думаешь?
is awesome.
Учитывая то, что минимум будет 2 фазы,
From Reddit,
то ПТС, скорее всего, будет длиться недели 3. Минимум 2 получается. Я думаю, 3.
I need all of these practical things that
Соответственно, 4 плюс 21, 25, плюс еще неделя, патч в начале октября. Начало октября, конец сентября, может быть. 100 этажей, да, 100 этажей.
If you do have things that you want to share with us that you think would be cool to have on the agent highlights section of the show, just use hashtag agent highlights on Twitter, and we would love to share more of your things.
В общем, кто что пропустил в новый режим, который якобы назывался Небоскреб, но это их внутреннее название было, он будет называться Summit. Не знаю точно, что это переводится, как это переводится на русский. Наверху кто, понятия не имеет, это мы и выясним.
AA_Brian asks, all caps, Bruce, will we get any poison resistance mods? So poison it's a unique status effect that there is resistance for it, and you can resist against it through hazard protection. But it's kind of unique in that we don't really allow the player to create poison damage effects, and it's something that we sort of it's a very.
В общем, вопрос был про урон от яда. Будет ли добавлено резист к яду? Сказали, что игроки не могут дамажить ядом, это только неписи, только некоторые из них. Поэтому они решили его не добавлять.
The last day of the game, I think Nikki may have mentioned that we are adding ensnare resistance and disorient, I believe. I'm putting myself on the spot here, but two previously missing resistances will be available to farm.
Значит, в факторе риска добавят 2 новых резиста, которых не хватало изначально. Но яд не один из них.
Someone corrected me. Sorry. So yes, disorient resistance, also known as confused resistance, in TU11. So internally, and I believe in Division 1 we refer to it as confusion. But in the Division 2, we try to gravitate towards the term disorient. They're the same thing, but it's not very consistent in the UI. Actually, this afternoon, prior to coming on the show, was going through all of our text files and updating them. So now, all instances of confuse should say disorient. Apologies for the confusion.
Okay, cool. I am also excited because there's a lot of changes coming in TU11, and I imagine on the PTS there must be patch notes. I don't have any word from Johan about where those patch notes are, if they're maybe even up on the forums now, but probably not. There should be some PTS patch notes coming that are very juicy. I imagine, Bruce, there's a lot of changes that you haven't talked about today that are in there as well.
In regards to what, sorry?
Скоро должны выкатить патчноты к ПТСу. Ну, по идее, как обычно, утром 4-го, перед открытием серверов. Блин, заканчивайте уже.
Always a pleasure.
Restate PTS coming on Friday, where you'll be able to experience all of this, and there will be patch notes before or as soon as that comes, and we will know a lot more then. There's a lot of exciting things, and the summit is going to be on the PTS, which is really cool. And I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to bring up our key. And no, that's it. That's not it. I did it wrong. Why isn't it show? Okay, sorry, vmix issue. This. The new PvE mode, the summit, is coming into U11. Is free to all players who own Warlords of New York. You don't need to pay anything extra to get that. If you own Warlords of New York, it's yours. All right, that's going to be it from us for today. I almost got.
Эпизод сказали, да, сказали, показывали, сколько, 3 или 4 новых эпизода.
So it's been a fun one. Thanks, Mackenzie and Bruce, for joining. Lots of cool new stuff. You guys probably need
and
to.
For anyone, sorry, like chat goes so fast. I've missed hundreds of questions. Once again, don't hesitate. Reach out to me on Twitter. I can try to answer what I can there.
Cool. And Bruce is always lurking in your streams as well, and I'm sure Mackenzie is too. So
Yes.
we're always listening. All right. Thanks everyone for coming by today. We will see you all again next week, which I'm sure will be a stream packed full of things to talk about, especially since it's after.
Да нет, экзоты, кстати, очень даже неплохие. Ну, кроме Грудака. Грудак мне очень понравился.
See you all again next week. Bye, everyone.
Наконец-то закончили. До свидания. Только можно-то. Если пушки будут экзоты, будет новая ППХ экзотическая. Так, итак, резюмирую для тех, кто, скажем так, позже подключился. В 3-м сезоне будет новый PvE режим, который небоскреб, который в итоге называется Summit. В нем будет 100 этажей, ну, соответственно, этажи будут разбиты на сложности. Первые 10 или 20, сколько там, это типа сюжетные или средние там сложности, постепенно она будет увеличиваться. Очень похожий режим был в первой части, это сопротивление. Получается, мы будем подниматься по этажам. Каждый этаж будет, у них есть несколько там, сказали, десятков предизайненных этажей. То бишь будет случайным образом выбираться один из этих этажей. На нем будут заселяться мобы случайной фракции. Из каких-то там этажей будут добавляться модификаторы. Это тоже все было в противостоянии там с 40-го или какого этажа. Тоже начинались модификаторы. Будут чекпоинты каждые 3 этажа. То бишь, если умираешь, откатываешься на последний. Можно будет перезапускать, соответственно, этот режим на тот этаж, который у вас уже был пройден. Там, не помню, на каких конкретных этажах, но на каких-то конкретных этажах были... Как-то они ралли-поинты называли. Как-то на русский перевести. В общем, что-то типа чекпоинтов, которые ты проходишь, например, 25 этаж, и ты в следующий раз можешь начать этот режим вот конкретно с этого этажа, не проходя первые 25 этажей, то бишь на сложности, которые тебе уже не интересны. В 3-м сезоне будет добавлена новая комплектная экипировка. Что-то вроде по памяти. В радиусе 15 метров на врагов накладывается дебаф, который увеличивает на 20% получаемый ими урон, но только от владельца комплекта, а не от всех источников. Также при убийстве противника будет накладываться баф на 5% урона оружия на 10, по-моему, секунд. Стакается 5 раз. Это если с дебафом умирает враг. Далее представили экзотическую ППшку, которая увеличивает критический урон за стак на 1%, 200 стаков всего. Но при перезарядке вы вешаете на себя кровотечение в размере 0,5% за стак. То бишь при 200 стаках на вас навесится кровотечение, которое за 10 секунд снимет вам 100% брони. Бонус гирсета — увеличение урона от ППшки и дробовика на, по-моему, 15%. И еще один бонус увеличивает, при убийстве восстанавливает 20% брони и 100% здоровья. То бишь комплект будет чисто на убийство максимально быстро и максимально много. Потом представили рюкзак. Рюкзак тоже супер офигенский. За убийство, точнее, убивая врагов, с них будет падать трофей. Подбирая этот трофей, вы получаете 2 бафа. Один на 10 секунд, второй на 300 секунд. Тот, который на 10 секунд, будет увеличивать на 5% урон от оружия, на 20% увеличение максимальной брони и, по-моему, на 5% эффективность навыков. Зависеть это будет от того, какие атрибуты у вас будут на персонаже. То бишь, 6 атрибутов красных будут давать вам 30% урона от оружия. 6 атрибутов на броню будут давать вам 120% брони. А второй баф, который на 300 секунд, будет давать вам 1% урона от оружия, по-моему, 0,5% регенерации или что-то нет, 0,1% регенерации брони и 1% эффективность навыков. На 300 секунд и стакается оно до 30 раз. Очень привлекательный рюкзак. Что касается грудака, то грудак будет накладывать кровотечение на врагов в радиусе 10 метров после, по-моему, убийства. Вот тут я не помню. И за каждое кровотечение в радиусе 10 метров вы будете регенить броню. Одно убийство 1 враг 1%, 2 врага, по-моему, 4%, 3 врага 9%, 4 врага 16% и 5 врагов 25%. У меня фигня полная, так что смотрим. Также будет новый брендовый сет. Брендовый сет, первый бонус будет 1% регенерация брони, за 2 предмета бонус, по-моему, 10% брони за убийство, и за 3 бонус 20% получаемого лечения. Также в следующем патче у нас обесцветятся моды на экипировке. Там можно будет вставлять теперь любые моды. Цвета больше не будет. То бишь в любую шмотку можно будет ставить любой мод. Также получим трансмогрификацию. То бишь можно будет менять внешний вид экипировки на любой другой, но перед этим тебе надо будет залутать, чтобы добавить в коллекцию что-то типа каталога будет, как на перекалибровке. Радужный лут. В следующем патче у нас тоже пофиксится. Теперь будет первый атрибут такого же цвета, как и главный атрибут на шмотке. То бишь, если шмотка с уроном от оружия, первая за ним характеристика будет всегда красная, то бишь крит урон, шанс крита, урон в голову или эргономичность. Следующий, уже второй, получается, атрибут будет ролиться рандомно. И так вроде все. Балансные правки мы уже узнаем только с патчнотов. Ну и вроде все. В общем-то, я надеюсь, увидимся в пятницу на ПТСе. А так, пока-пока.